Hundreds of business executives and risk professionals from around the world asked us how they could use enterprise risk management, or ERM, more strategically to create value-driven performance. We listened, and so did the Committee of Sponsoring Organizations of the Treadway Commission, also known as COSO. They engaged us to update the ERM integrated framework to address how the alignment of risk, strategy, and performance could create unprecedented opportunity for optimal business performance. Originally issued in 2004 by COSO, the framework is one of the most widely recognized and applied enterprise risk management frameworks in the world. We've created a video series that explains the key changes to the framework. This video explores the 3 different connections between risk and strategy and how your enterprise risk management framework should consider each in order to drive the greatest benefits for your organization. Today I'm sitting with Frank Martens and Helene Katz, 2 members of the core COSO project team, to talk about how the framework provides guidance to integrate risk into the strategy selection process. So, Helen, market research told us that strategic blunders have a large effect on value. What have we found?
Absolutely. So a study conducted by Strategy and found that strategic blunders actually accounted for the greatest loss of shareholder value for 81% of companies since 2002 that were valued over $1 billion.
You know, it's interesting. When we think about that, Frank, we extended a little bit further. We did a COSO survey as well, didn't we? What did we find?
We did, and we did it at the beginning of the project to get a sense around what the market was thinking around this whole topic. And what 63% of the people said is that integrating risk and strategy was either important or very important for their organizations going forward.
You know, what's interesting is as we considered those things and we dove into this further and talked to various clients, the advisory council and others, we found that we could break this down into 3 different pieces: the risk of strategy, from strategy, and to strategy. Helen, why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, we've actually captured those 3 dimensions in the core graphic that you'll find throughout the document. Firstly, we talk about the risk of strategy not aligning, and very simply, this is referring to the risk or the possibility that your strategy doesn't align to your mission, vision, and core values. That possibility is a risk, and even when greatly executed, will not help your organization achieve its core purpose. The second dimension that we explore in detail is the implications of the strategy. And as many familiar with the strategy setting process will be appreciative of, is understanding that strategic choices have a corresponding risk profile and understanding what that risk profile is. Typical examples may be deciding to explore new markets, new industries, new products, and understanding the risks that represents to the organization. And finally, the third one, which is very well understood by many risk practitioners, is the risks to the execution of the strategy. And simply put, that is the day-to-day risks that may arise as you execute against your strategy as an organization. So Frank, how does this compare to what we see in a lot of other organizations?
In the research we did as part of the project, what we found is that many organizations were focusing their ERM efforts on the risk to the strategy. And they're getting value from doing that, but they're maybe not getting as much as they might get from a more complete look at what you're talking about. So we do think that going forward, organizations are going to want to expand that focus. They're going to want to go beyond just looking at the risks to strategy, but really be more focused in bringing in the of and from aspects as well. So Dennis, what did we do from a framework perspective? So there's 4 things we did. First is we wanted to move away from the conversation of being a process. And so we talk about the capabilities and practices and approaches that organizations have in integrating risk into strategy. Secondly, we talk very specifically about ERM and how it fits into strategy setting. And we also talk explicitly about how ERM has to work in with evaluating strategic choices that you make. We haven't forgotten about the other aspect, which is the risk to piece. These are all things we developed in 2004. But I think in this update, we've really given them more prominence and more focus than we had, and I think it's going to be beneficial to organizations that use it.
You know, really breaking out that relationship of risk and strategy through these 3 lenses of, from, and to, thinking about how it bakes into the strategic planning process, really I think is a major step forward for risk management, its relevance, the value that it brings to the strategy discussion, and ultimately in the organization's ability to achieve its objectives. Thanks, Helen. Thanks, Frank, for joining me in the conversation today. As part of our efforts to solicit public feedback in the development of the COSO framework, please download the updated draft framework at coso.org and provide comments by September 30th. Visit pwc.com/COSO-ERM to learn more about the changes to the framework and how they will impact your business. Thank you.